How's it going, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install Zippy spacers in the Benchmade Necron. So you can see I've already installed the safe handle Zippy spacer, and we'll install the bite handle spacer together. Before we go into the actual installation, I just want to show the differences between the Zippy spacer and the stock spacer. This is the stock extension. It's made of an injection molded plastic, and it does crack on concrete. There's been several reports of that. And so the Zippy spacers are actually made of this rubbery polyurethane. It will not crack on concrete, as Brandon Baker's demonstrated by throwing his Serpent Striker V3 with Zippy spacers off the roof of a building. But I'm offering these Zippy spacers in 3 different lengths: 5.67 inches, which just matches the stock length, 5.5 inches for a more traditional handle length, and 5.3 inches for a shorter length with a more subdued, subtle look for the extensions. This is the glow-in-the-dark color. One of the key aspects of the Zippy extensions is that they are compatible with the Zippy tungsten weights. So there's 2 slots in each spacer to add or remove a tungsten weight. To add it, we'll just put the ball over one of the slots, and I'll press it in with the tip of a clicky pen. You can hear it snap in. To remove the spacer, you can take some thin, rigid metal object. I'm going to use this 2mm Allen key, and you would stick it in the hole here and push the ball out. What's nice about these tungsten balls is they weigh a lot less than the tungsten discs, so you get a much more granular balance configuration. So let's demonstrate that. One of the tungsten balls is 0.022 ounces. And one of the tungsten discs is 0.062 ounces. Because the discs go on either side of the handle, though, you'll probably want to install both of them, which means you get 0.125 ounces. For reference, a stock replicant titanium spacer is 0.11 ounces. So you can start to figure out that using the stock tungsten balance system quickly gives you, unflippably handle-biased configurations, whereas the tungsten balls that I provide with the Zippy spacers actually let you have a variety of very useful balances. So I don't really recommend folks use the stock tungsten discs. I don't think it provides a very flippable balance. But key point here, the Zippy spacers do weigh less than the stock extension. So you get a much more neutral balance. And if the neutral balance isn't for you, you can add back end weight with the tungsten weights. Overall, it makes for a much better flipper. Now, let's go ahead and discuss installation. I don't recommend you guys just go in and start unscrewing the screws. If you've done it and you can get the screws out, that's fantastic. All of the ones that I've seen are super thread locked. And so the way to get these screws out without stripping them, because all the body screws are T6 and very susceptible to stripping, is take your soldering iron. I know each of you has one. And if you don't, you can get this one. This was like $6 at Walmart. Just make sure it's 120 volts, 30 watts. Really 30 watts is the important bit there. And what you'll do is let it heat up for 5 to 10 minutes. And then you'll just hold it to the screw for a minute or two, each screw. And notice how I've got the pivot screw facing up, the smooth side facing down. That's going to give you the easiest way. So we're just going to zap this for a minute or two. I've actually already done it, so I'm not going to make you wait, but you would do the Zen pin and the spacer screw. and that's going to deteriorate the thread lock and enable you to unscrew the screws. So let's go ahead and take out the Zen pin screw. We're going to loosen this pivot screw. I know it says it violates the Benchmade warranty, voids the Benchmade warranty to do so, but you'd actually need to undo this pivot screw to use the weight system to swap out your stock Benchmade spacers. So that's a pretty asinine policy, and hopefully Benchmade rectifies that situation, because they're selling a knife made to be taken apart. Anyways, now that my screws have been soldering ironed, the thread lock's broken, we can undo the spacer screw, and we can just pull apart this top G10 slab. So now you can see that there's one more sex bolt in here. This is what is essentially a shoulder barrel spacer, but we are going to remove that. There's no screw head on the other side, so if you dig your fingernail under it, you should be able to just pull it out. You can see it's a D-shaped keyed sex bolt with no screw, so it just comes right out. And now what we'll do is we'll gently lift this titanium slab and we'll wiggle out the stock spacer. And now we're going to install the other 5.67 inch Zippy spacer. I don't have any tungsten balls in here. It's the most neutral configuration, so I'm going to install this one also without tungsten balls. And the same way that I took out the spacer, I'm just going to pop it right back in and then push down like so. And we'll reinsert this keyed sex bolt, lining up the D shape with the steel liner, and then we'll just push it in until it's flush. Great. Now we're gonna reorient the G10 scale. It may require you to gently bend the spacer down like so, and now you can see it's realigned. So I'm gonna go ahead and screw these end pin back in. You don't want to use Hulk level force on this. You really don't want to strip these screws. It's going to make it a nightmare to ever undo them if you decide to change your balance or anything like that. And then we'll go ahead and redo this pivot screw. Note that the Necron is on washers, not bushing, so you cannot full crank these pivots. I know Ben Parley on Instagram is doing bushing conversions, and that is what I would recommend doing if you want to really use this for some heavy flipping. Anyway, so you've just successfully installed the 5.67 inch, the stock length Zippy spacers on your Benchmade Necron. They have adjustable balance, positive sawtooth jimping for extra grip on chokers and ladders, and they're more durable than the stock spacers, and you can get them in a variety of different colors. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys.